we assume people are going to sit through all the video.
Right.
And
Not necessarily.
and she's an amazing hook. You know, now again, Bill's like, but I'm Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a bad impression. But
Hi, I'm Alex with Your Local Studio. With me, I have two fantastic experts. I have Joe Daly, video producer extraordinaire, and Kevin Colby with kevincolby.com, the creative dude. Today, we're going to break down a marketing video. Today's one is Limbitless Solutions.
obviously we didn't do the voiceover.
We didn't do the voiceover. And this is with Bill Gates. He actually is...
Who's this? Bill Gates?
This
fellow?
Bill Gates?
Yeah.
I think he owns did own a company or a portion of a company.
Yeah,
kind of
That's
big
cool. A
thing.
little fad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So let's go ahead and watch it right now.
The hand is amazing in terms of all the things that it can do. They're using video games to help
3D
train
printing,
the way you connect your muscles
is
up to the
cool.
various motors.
Gamifying
It's great how
the
much
connection there.
control, you're going to be able to get, but they're going to keep the cost low.
It's a good shot with the sun coming
Oh,
up the
yeah.
chase.
What is
Gorgeous.
that? They'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty kind of thing, or where'd you get it?
So cool.
All right, let's break that down. Strategy, production, and distribution. Those are the three things we're going to look at. So let's start with strategy. Gates Notes. So this is not on their channel. It's on Bill Gates' thing. But what do you think
Well, first of all, who knew Bill Gates had a YouTube channel? I didn't.
I did not either.
Yeah. I'm like, dude. Yeah, he's
Now
swimming
he's
along though. He's only got like
400,000
400,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's just
Come on,
just
Bill.
a few.
Pick it up.
That's not so good.
Oh my gosh. So what do you think the strategy here, the overall strategy, the purpose, the audience, the component of looking at these videos?
Well, I think the purpose is awareness for what's going on in some of these nonprofits and businesses that are out there to do good in the world that don't get a lot of they don't get their name out there because they don't have the money to do it.
Right.
You put Bill Gates behind it, and all of a sudden you got the name.
Yes.
And it's out there. Bill Gates, maybe you don't agree with some of this stuff, I don't know, but he takes his fortune and he spends it on good,
He does.
or what he thinks is good.
Yeah.
Right.
I have nothing against Bill Gates. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but just in case
Just in
later
case
on
there's
something
somebody
comes
else.
out.
Right. Well, and he started the whole, what is it, the Bill and Linda Gates
Yes, Foundation, yeah.
and so I think this fits very much him. You know, I mean, I think it's just that. Now, you know, is there any Microsoft woven in here
So,
somewhere?
Not in this particular video. It's all about, it's his thing right
Yeah.
here. But I did do some research, and it says somewhere about this is part of the collaborative project. And basically, that's a Microsoft thing. So Microsoft, at least I believe, is not. It doesn't say on this one. I think it was on the LinkedIn one. They're supporting several nonprofits, and this Limitless Solutions is one of them. And on one particular page, there's more videos, not just this one, and how they use OneNote and Office products and different things. So there's that. But obviously, because of that connection point, he probably thought this is really cool. So they created a whole.
I mean, maybe some of the strategy. I mean, Bill Gates doesn't need any PR. I mean, people know. Well, except for Joe, people know who Bill Gates is. They probably know his background and stuff like that. But you know, I'd like to believe that he is dedicating time to I want to find these nonprofits that they need exposure because they're doing amazing work, and here's the amazing work they're doing.
Yeah.
And I want to shine the light on them, and you know, for all I know, he paid for the production here. I mean, he did this, and for somebody that I think has his stature and his funding to say, you know, I want to give your business a boost. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So obviously, I appreciate your point. He doesn't really need the PR, even though this does raise his PR. Now it's attaching him to some good things.
But he uses his, if you want to say your celebrity, to do something good.
Right.
Because he's got more money than dirt.
He's in a different world when you think about how much people are worth. He's in a different stratosphere. He's at the point now where he can just give back, and you know, I honestly think he's a good guy. So you don't even have to worry about him doing something like crazy that's going to hurt his brand or anything like that. He's just. I think he's doing. Well, there was a Windows computer. I saw that.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, so they do have Windows computers. Okay.
But how would you like to be the person that go to Bill Gates? Well, what have you done for anybody lately? And goes, well, why don't you subscribe to my YouTube channel? Bubba?
With a handful of other people that are subscribed to it.
Just
not enough viewers.
Just So let's talk about production then, real quick. Let's look at the way they produce it from pre-production to post. So, what's your first thoughts?
So for a video like this, your production quality, I think, only has to be good enough to not be distracting from the message.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think the message is strong enough.
The story
All
itself.
you got to do is not be distracting from the message, because the message can carry it. And they did a very good job of that. I think it's shot well. Sometimes I thought the color grading was a little off or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought Bill was a little green. Maybe it was
his two interview shots were
It does, you know what? Now you say that,
But I'm being super nitpicky now because
yeah.
that's the shot I actually noticed it on the most.
The green.
But it just has to be not distracting. And like I said, that when we were watching it, the girl in the goal with the sun coming over the trees.
Wow, that was a nice shot.
They did a great job. The production quality is very good.
Yeah. It feels like I don't know. Maybe this is going a little far. It feels like a little mini doc. You know,
mini documentary. Yeah.
I thought it was very well done when they took the young girl out that got the arm. I don't know what her name is, and she's outside. It also felt different. I don't know if it was in the lighting and everything, but just that story part. I mean, they visually. I know she's outside, but there's something that they did in the production there. I think, and I'm on the fence on this. I kind of would have liked to have heard her story a little earlier to get into it, because I think the only, and this is maybe a takeaway lesson. Sorry, I don't mean to jump ahead, but is that we assume people are going to sit through all the video,
right?
And
not necessarily.
And she's an amazing hook. Now again, Bill's like, but I'm Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a bad impression. But
that's
the only thing. But I mean, look, notice it has 2.2 thousand. One of those is my like. Because I'm not. When I saw this, I was
was just like, yes.
I loved it. And you just added it.
I just added it.
I just think it's, and again, it's all about the charity, the one guy they're interviewing. I mean, they're showing it how it works. It even more so than the one we did on Touch Note with Upwork. I mean, this is all about just the amazing things they're doing.
So let's talk about distribution. Obviously, YouTube is probably their main video. I haven't searched if on Facebook, but I actually came across this on LinkedIn. Somebody else shared his video. Even though I follow him on LinkedIn. Someone else shared it. I was like, oh, well, that's a nice video. And he had it on there. And then I clicked through and I found, because there was a link, and it went to he has a blog post. That's what this link here is about it. And
this whole thing is done under Gates Notes, which I had not even heard of until I saw that it had the little bug in the corner.
Blog, yeah, it's a perfect publicity for his Gates Notes. Most likely, we're talking about nonprofit here. So if I want you to think about from a nonprofit's point of view, what could they take away from this to help promote their own nonprofit?
Just get Bill Gates involved in your nonprofit, and you're golden.
Yeah, easy peasy. Yeah, just call him up.
Or Kevin from Lenovo.
Kevin from Lenovo.
Yeah, no, he's good too. Yeah,
have him use it.
That's tough. Don't get hung up on production quality. If you're doing stuff for good and your message is for good, I think people will be much more forgiving on the quality of your video if your message is there. And we understand. Like, I'd rather Bill Gates spends $15,000 on just donating to this company than to spend that on a video.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Spend $5,000 on the video, or I'm just throwing numbers out there, but keep the production costs down, have the money go to what's important, and people will understand that when they're watching it.
And in reality, there's probably a lot of nonprofits doing amazing things. I mean, I've worked with some, and they don't have a budget like this.
Right.
Which I would be shocked if we found out that they had to pay for this. Bill goes, hey, I'll talk about your company, but you gotta buy me lunch. To me, a takeaway is that most nonprofits that I've worked with, I talked with, or I volunteer with, or whatever, have two major issues, and that's fundraising, funds, and then volunteers sometimes, which also awareness. So there's always people asking for money, and there's only probably so many things that we can give to. So I think you get to what is the core of what you do, what is the core of what you're about, and you focus it around that. The fact that we could see the technology is really cool, but when you see the technology used, and I think that's the takeaway, you know. And every nonprofit has something that they can talk about other than just we need volunteers and we need money, which you do. But for what?
Right.
For
so
what?
To put a personal touch on the story to get them in there, like, oh, this is the real end result of what we're doing.
Because after watching, I was like, I want to do something. I want to be able to I think this is awesome because now I see the end use in the case. Where if I just thought, okay, we make limbs that are do this, okay, but seeing the story. Yeah. Now the one thing I would say maybe is missed is a call to action. But the thing it was under Bill Gates's, so he wasn't really. He was just kind of showing that I'm part of this. So they didn't get the chance for a call to action. Do you want to play a role? Do you want to be a volunteer?
But then again, if you go back to the blog post, where I think there's more there, and he's linking out to them, and he's talking about them. So that gets to the distribution. What's the main component of this? And the fact that Joe just pointed out, holy cow.
June 11th.
And so I got that many shares. You know, I mean, sometimes I think it's easy to put success based on how many what are the analytics, but in reality, you know, I think being on YouTube was just a component of it, and quite honestly, it's a free video player.
Yes,
even though Bill could buy them. But,
one takeaway that I thought about here is you may not be able to get Bill Gates. But you may be able to find somebody who is an influencer, or has money, or has a business, and maybe you can align with them, help build their own brand and their PR, just as Bill's running his own little, new blogs, Gates Notes. Find somebody who is interested in doing that, and say, hey, can you help us expand our message? And you can actually then kind of promote your thing that you're doing at the same time. Then you're able to get a video done. Just make sure that it's helping tell that story, not just the features, but the actual.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Bill Gates level. If it's a local kind of business you have, maybe a local radio host might be willing to donate his time to helping you get a video going, or somebody on the news, like the local weatherman or something like that. So it doesn't always have to be Bill Gates. But if you can get somebody with a little bit of a name recognition, it will help the cause a little bit.
That's true.
Cool. Well, there you go. Another marketing video breakdown, nonprofit style edition. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Go long.
Go long.
On control of your bionic arm.
On, Ted. On. Okay. Cool.